That may shock some of you, and in fact, I think I've shocked myself with that statement. Car Obsession is proudly supported by Exchange My Car, Carly and Draggy. For a limited time only, use Car Obsession 10 to get money off with Carly, and there's also a discount code for Draggy as well, which again is Car Obsession 10. All of the details are in the video description below. Oh, slipped my way in to the BMW Toyota Supra. Easy mistake to make. Right, so yes, this is the Toyota Supra. More specifically, this is the Jarama Edition. I do hope I've pronounced that right. I never know how to pronounce it, edition. Now, of course, I'm talking about the Jarama. Right, I do have this car for a very limited amount of time, so we best be on our way. So, of course, fundamentally, this is a BMW. You've got the same running gear, the same kind of dash, but that's been said many times, so I'm not going to say any more on that subject. Famous last words. Under the bonnet, I have a 3-litre straight 6 offering 340 horsepower along with 500 Newton meters of torque. Power is, of course, fed to the rear wheels via an 8-speed Steptronic. Right, it gets into sport mode because, come on, it'd be rude not to. Oh, meaty. 0 to 62 is done in 4.3 seconds, and as you would expect, the top speed is limited to 155. Now, I have just jumped out of the Alpine A110S, so it'd be interesting to see how this compares. This is a limited edition model. Only 90 are available in Europe. Why 90? Well, the model code for this car is A90, so that makes sense. This is the 5th generation Supra, and believe it or not, it's been out for a few years, but I've never driven one. Right, let's see what's what. Oh, hello. A bit more frisky compared to the Alpine A110S. But one thing I will say from the get-go, the steering in the Supra, it feels a bit lighter. It doesn't feel quite as snappy or as focused. That's not to say it feels as sloppy as a bowl of porridge, but it doesn't feel quite as taut. One thing I really like is the digital dash in front of me. It's very driver focused. I've got my speed, my revs, and that's pretty much it. And to be honest, in a car like this, do you really need much more? Right. Oh, that grips very well. So I've got Michelin Pilot Super Sport tyres fitted to this car. The front axle has got a width of 255, whereas the rear has a width of 275. Of course, the rear wheels are the driven ones, so you want to have wider rubber there. Anyway, I've got this car for a short amount of time, so I really want to experience what it's got to offer. The car feels really taut, but not to the point where it feels uncomfortable. The ride is actually pretty compliant, but compared to the Alpine, you can definitely feel the weight difference. I think that's definitely one thing that's apparent. It definitely feels like a heavier car, but it feels a bit more substantial, a bit more solid. Not to say that the Alpine felt fragile and delicate, but I'd say the Alpine had a bit more poise, whereas this is a bit more, it's a bit more of a jackhammer. I would also say, and this is controversial, that Alpine sounds better. That is controversial. That's a 4-pot. This is, of course, a 6-pot. But this doesn't sound disastrous. at this point I haven't spoken about the 8-speed Steptronic gearbox, which is a good thing because it means that I haven't got anything negative to say about it. The Alpine, the 7-speed DCT in that was a little bit cumbersome, whereas the Steptronic, it's definitely more seamless. This wasn't meant to be a comparison video, but it's kind of ended up that way. I love the seats. They're supported, but they're really nicely padded. The bolsters have got a bit more give than the Alpine. They feel a bit more comfort orientated. Right, we've got a train of cars here. Now, as part of the Jarama Edition specification, you do get this very nice blue paintwork, which I must confess, the name of it has escaped my little mind. I want to say it's called Jarama Blue, but I would have thought that Toyota would have been a bit more inventive in the name. So yeah, the name of the colour has disappeared from my head, but I will drop it as a subtitle. You also get a carbon fibre dash, and you even get a little diagram, a little circuit outline of the Jarama Racetrack on the dash as well as the build number. This, with it being a car that belongs to Toyota, is 1 of 90. The steering is direct, but not quite as crisp as the Alpine. Again, I do apologise that I'm making lots of comparisons, but it seems natural given that they're very similar cars. And I would have thought that, well, this will be more expensive, of course, but they're not. I don't think they're a million miles away when it comes to price, but I'm probably completely wrong there.
I am indeed wrong. Believe it or not, the Supra is actually around £4,000 cheaper than the Alpine, which I do find surprising, bearing in mind this is pretty much a BMW product and it has a larger engine. Who knew?
Yeah, first time driving a Supra. It is a decent car. I wouldn't say I had expectations from this car, because I don't like to have too many expectations from a car, because sometimes they're not met. I'm glad I didn't, because I don't know if it's because this is a very short drive and I haven't got a lot of time to truly soak in what this car has to offer, but I don't know, it's not quite hitting the spot. I think it's because I've just jumped out the Alpine, and to be frank, that had more character. This feels a little bit Germanic, which of course it would do because it shares many components with BMW. Not spoken about the brakes yet. The brakes perform well. I've got no complaints there. That's probably why I haven't mentioned them, because they're doing their job very well. Not much to report. Let's take control of the paddles myself. Oh, that is very quick. That's a very responsive gearbox. Definitely more seamless than the Alpine, for sure.
Now, for those of you that prefer a manual, I bring you good news, because this week Toyota has announced that they will be making a manual version of the GR Supra. Yes, rejoice!
The thing is though, when all is said and done, I'd rather be driving the Alpine. That may shock some of you, and in fact, I think I've shocked myself with that statement. But I don't know, the Alpine just had more character, just felt a bit more fun. Even though this, when you do push this around the corners, it can be a little bit tail happy. But the Alpine's just got something about it. I'm sorry for saying this, Toyota. I think I may have hit the nail on the head here. The Alpine has got more of an identity, and I know many people have talked about the Toyota BMW thing many times, and many would argue that if it wasn't for BMW, the 5th generation Toyota Supra probably wouldn't exist. But on the same hand, the fact that this is so BMW, just look at the switchgear. It's well, I say look at the switchgear, you probably can't really see much of it. It feels like the Supra hasn't got a proper true identity.
You won't be able to buy the Jarama Racetrack Edition anymore as it is such a limited model, but when it all is said and done, it was the same price as the standard GR Supra, and mechanically there was no difference. So this car, in my opinion, is a bit of a cop-out because it's just a fancy bit of paint and an extra bit of detailing on the dashboard. So maybe an opportunity missed there, Toyota. But anyway, that's by the by. Now the 3-litre GR Supra starts from £55,880, although you can have the 2-litre model for £47,505. Standard features include 19-inch alloys, LED lights, double exhaust, active sports differential, keyless entry, dual zone climate control, heated seats, head-up display, front and rear parking sensors, reversing camera, adaptive suspension, 8.8-inch infotainment system, JBL sound system, as well as a good host of safety features.
Now, as much as it's easy to criticise the Supra for being too much like a BMW, there are of course some benefits to that. And to be honest, to criticise something for being too much like a BMW does sound a bit preposterous to begin with, because surely that's a good thing. It means you get a BMW interior, and that is a good thing. It means you've got a nice place in which to be. The carbon fibre on the centre console is very pleasing, by the way. So you've got a Japanese sports car, okay, with a lot of German influence, but you've got a Japanese sports car that's actually got a nice interior. The Japanese are fantastic for their engineering, but let's face it, oh, that's my camera dying. But let's face it, Japanese cars, most of them, don't really have the best of interiors. Whereas this, you've got leather, you've got nice blue stitching on the dash, you've got a soft touch dash. Not that you drive around groping your dashboard, that would be a bit weird, frankly. But what I get is, and what I'm getting at is, there's a high class of materials being used in here. It's very premium, it's upmarket. And let's face it, the last Supra, would it have had an interior like this? Granted, I know it's an older car, so you can't compare the two as much. But if you were to compare the last Supra to the last Z4, for example, or Z3, if you want to go back a bit further, now I can almost guarantee the Beamer would have had the nicer interior. Right, that's just me pretty much done. I think I've overrun on my time. The people at Toyota may be a little bit grumbly. I do hope you have enjoyed this video. A massive thank you to Toyota UK for letting me have a quick spin in their Supra. I do hope you have enjoyed the video. I found it useful. If so, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. But until the next time, guys, be sure to keep up the car obsession.